Greetings, humanity! Today is Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. Let's GROK the news. I'm Robert Gardner, using GROK each weekday to help me search out and to summarize the biggest headlines in the news today. You also get the unparalleled benefit of this observer's opinions. We review a roundup of the most critical reports in the world from Kiev, Washington, D.C., Jerusalem, Mexico City, New York City, and the rest of the world. But first, a deep dive into today's top story right after this. God with Us, the story of Jesus, is a full blending of all the Gospels into one continuous narrative that misses nothing from the Savior's life. Inspired by the majestic text of the King James Bible, God with Us is adapted to modern language and formatted for easy reading, a faithful paraphrase divided into brief stories fit for daily Bible studies. This book was fully researched to present the story of Jesus from his birth to his ascension. Find God with Us by me, yours truly, Robert Gardner, at Amazon.com or wherever books are sold. And now, let's grok the most important news in the world today, starting with our lead story. Dateline Kiev. Ukraine today solemnly marked the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion, with President Volodymyr Zelenskyy delivering a defiant address, declaring that Vladimir Putin's core objectives remain unachieved despite 4 grueling years of war. This observer is not so sure about that. Speaking from Kiev, Zelenskyy emphasized that Ukraine has preserved its sovereignty and its resilience, just not all the men of fighting age. Even as Russian forces continue artillery strikes across the front lines, European leaders showed strong solidarity by gathering in the capital, underscoring that Ukraine's fate is our fate. Not that they've donated their manhood. The milestone comes amid fresh revelations from Russian soldiers who told the BBC they witnessed comrades executed on commanders' orders for refusing to advance. Testimonies captured in harrowing video accounts that highlight the brutality still gripping the conflict. This observer has heard similar stories from the Ukrainian side. As the war enters its 5th year, Ukrainians reflect on deep scars, millions displaced, cities reduced to rubble, and a generation of children enduring profound loss and trauma, all of which this observer finds unnecessary. Yet Defiant endures, with Zelenskyy vowing continued resistance and international partners reaffirming support amid the frozen battle lines with no immediate path to peace, since Zelenskyy and the Europeans have rejected President Trump's peace plans. The anniversary serves as both a moment of mourning and a stark reminder of the war's enduring human and geopolitical toll. However, the Europeans are convinced that the best route forward, just like World War I, is to fight to the last Ukrainian. And now we grok the headlines from around the globe. Dateline Washington, D.C. President Trump prepares to deliver his first State of the Union address of his second term tonight, facing a high-stakes moment dominated by escalating tensions with Iran, recent Supreme Court setbacks on tariffs, and mounting domestic political pressures ahead of the midterms. Analysts expect focus on national security, economic policy, and a defiant tone amid the multiple ongoing crises. Dateline Jerusalem and Tehran. The U.S.-Iran crisis intensifies as American military aircraft land in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns Tehran of force they cannot even imagine if attacks occur, and potential U.S. strikes on nuclear facilities still loom. Renewed anti-government protests spread across Iranian universities, and mourning for tens of thousands of massacre victims and crackdown fallout, with Geneva talks still on the horizon. Dateline Mexico City. Mexico reels from deadly cartel violence following the killing of Jalisco New Generation leader El Mencho, with thousands of soldiers deployed, over 70 deaths in clashes with the narco-terrorists, and U.S. Embassy shelter-in-place alerts issued. Authorities scramble to restore calm while fears grow over impacts over the upcoming FIFA World Cup. Dateline New York City, USA. A historic blizzard continues to cripple the U.S. East Coast, dumping record snow totals exceeding 2 feet in places, forcing travel bans in New York City, canceling more than 5,000 flights, and leaving millions bracing for dangerous wind gusts and sub-zero wind chills. Dateline Washington, D.C. The Trump administration navigates the fallout from that Supreme Court ruling striking down key tariffs, announcing new tariffs at lower than expected rates, issuing fresh threats to trading partners, and facing lawsuits, including FedEx's demand for full refunds on previously imposed duties. The court has made a mess of things. Some would say the Trump administration should have foreseen this. Dateline London. Britain's Prince Andrew, well, the man formerly known as Prince Andrew, has been arrested amid fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein files, with related detentions, including former Ambassador Peter Mandelson, prompting intense scrutiny of the monarchy and international relations. They are saying that King Charles knew everything. Dateline Tehran. Anti-government student protests continue to spread to additional Iranian universities, fueled by outrage over a recent crackdown, and families mourning victims of the massacres as dissent simmers despite heavy security measures. Dateline Jerusalem. Nearly 20 nations have condemned, the 20 usual nations that always condemn, Israel's recent West Bank measures, saying it's de facto annexation. Foreign ministers issuing strong statements criticizing the expansion as unlawful under international law, whatever that is. Dateline Tel Aviv. Additional U.S. military aircraft have landed in Israel amid sharply heightened regional tensions, with deployments seen as directly linked to warnings over potential Iranian aggression. Dateline Washington, D.C. Democratic Representative Patrick Ryan vows he will, quite literally, chain himself to the perimeter to physically block construction of a new ICE detention facility, escalating protests against the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. Well, he'll just wind up in jail, as he should. Dateline USA. At a Trump-hosted Angel family event, families of victims killed by undocumented immigrants, by illegal aliens, by any other name. Well, they shared stories. The mainstream media has largely ignored their stories, spotlighting crime victims, drawing attention to border security issues. Some of them don't know, and many of them don't want to know. I mean, the goal, after all, is to get illegal votes for one particular party, and that's all that matters to some. Dateline Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro's office has halted prosecution of Democrats accused of encouraging military disobedience after a D.C. grand jury unanimously rejected the case. Boy, when you fumble that badly, you have to look at the quarterback and the coach in the DOJ. What the devil are they doing? Dateline London. The BBC has apologized after a guest with Tourette's syndrome shouted a racial slur during the 2026 BAFTA broadcast, sparking controversy over live censorship failures at the prestigious awards ceremony. Maybe the person with Tourette's shouldn't have been invited. I'm sorry. But come on. Dateline Thailand. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Dateline Thailand. Authorities have launched an investigation after an illness outbreak killed 72 tigers at a popular tourist park, raising serious concerns about animal welfare and disease control at that facility. Oh, now that's bad news. Dateline Sydney, Australia. Police inquiries advance into the case of a Sydney grandfather mistakenly kidnapped, with human remains discovered, prompting renewed questions about the circumstances of the abduction. Dateline Washington, D.C. President Trump has directed the U.S. government to prepare for the release of previously classified files related to UFOs and aliens, reigniting public interest in long-standing government secrecy on the topic. This observer not really expecting much to come from that. And that's our news today. I thank you for listening. Please join me tomorrow to once again grok the news. I'm Robert Gardner. Godspeed and God bless.